Here in the shop, and I had pulled my starter apart since the one I bought, uh, according to eBay, would fit on the car, but it wouldn't. The starter I bought had 2 holes, and mine's got 3 holes in it, and the snout on the other one is really long. I'll show it to you later, but so I decided, well, let me just take it apart, clean it up, see if I can't find out what's wrong with it. And obviously the armature is pretty well scarred up. It was dirty, so I'm going to clean it all up with some fresh gasoline. I'll obviously stay away from the bearing, the sealed bearing. If I have one in the shop, I'll go ahead and change it. I don't think I did, but I'll look. The brushes on it weren't looking too good either. They obviously were getting very hot. I think that some of that was because the starter was mounted loosely in there, and I didn't realize it. I've owned the vehicle second hand for several years, and it just slowly started to degrade on the starting over time, to the point that it would take 3 tries to start the vehicle, and I knew the batteries were good, so I ended up with this. So what I'm doing is I'm just cleaning the starter up with some gasoline real good, and then I'll let it dry out, and then I'll probably just stick this on my lathe and then hit it with some emery cloth and spin it up and then clean it up again. I'll make sure and dress up the brushes and everything and reassemble the starter. I know I didn't show you how to take it apart, but it's pretty easy to take apart. It's just got a few screws and some bolts holding it together. The hardest part was actually taking the one of the hardest parts was taking the one on the left right here off the starter, which is connected to this. It actually spun around and broke the plastic separator off, so I'll have to replace this eventually, but I'll just be real careful when I put it back together to test it, because it's been kind of old, so I expect to see internally, if I open this up, I would expect to see that the copper contact button and everything is probably messed up. Now, I did look up for 2001 starter solenoid, and there's 2 different types. There's one that has a square hole in it, and there's one that's got a plastic post with a plastic button on the end. So obviously I need this one. The one with the plastic posted button was like $16, and this one is, I think the cheapest I found was $27. I have not found this at any of the auto parts stores in town either. So I'm like, okay, so I'll probably have to buy one off of eBay, but until I can get a new one, I'm just going to clean this one up and throw it back in the starter. So anyways, I got to get to cleaning all this up. Bye. Okay, I got it all cleaned up and chucked up in my lathe. I was turning something externally, but I don't need the turn over here, so I've got my outer jaws instead of my inner jaws on. Just doesn't matter. Oiled up and put my oil there on my dead center, and then you can actually fire it. This is my Harbor Freight, by the way. It's my 4401 42 3-in-1 multi-purpose machine. It does pretty good for me. So anyways, I'll just fire it up, and you can see it turns. So I got some 150 grit emery cloth. I stripped it off, and I'll just wrap this around here and then go back and forth. I did notice some problems on the armature, which probably means I'm going to have to replace it eventually. And it was right here. There's actually a piece missing in here where it gotten really hot and just burned out. So until I get another starter, I'm just gonna have to dress this one up and use it and see how it works. So anyways, back to it. Let me sorry about the focus there. I'll just grab this around here, fire it up, and grab both ends, and then run it back and forth like this and get it cleaned up. So let me get that done, and I'll show it to you. Okay, this is kind of how I did it. Except I used 2 hands, I just went back and forth like this, and then you can tilt it and go like that. But don't pull too tight, or it'll actually grab it and pull it around. You can see it's starting to look pretty good. I did notice that there's a lot of bridging right here. So what I did is I grabbed my X-Acto blade with a little balsa wood cutter on it, and I just basically stick it in the cracks and clean everything out like this. And this armature is definitely it's got some problems on it. So let me get it all cleaned up real good, and I'll probably just go ahead and reuse it and see how it works. If it works good, then great. If not, then I'll just have to buy another one, I guess. So anyways, off we go. Let me get it all cleaned up and show you the rest. Thought I'd just show you a little bit of this and show you how fairly easy it is to clean these. They're not too hard. This is the only one that really worries me. It's a pretty hammered, so this one probably only works right here because it looks like it might be separated right in here. I don't know. So each one of these, if you don't know, goes to a post here, and then that post there's a wire that goes there, and it goes around over to here and then back, and it connects to the other side. So when electricity hits it, it magnetizes it and it turns it over, because the plates or the coils that are around the motor, let me see if I can show you that. These are also energized too, and they become magnets. So when you have opposing magnetic fields, it wants to go the other way. It's like, you know, like fields repel and different opposing fields attract, which causes it to turn. So it's an electric motor. It's very, very strong. But because of the windings on it and how big they are, it's not useful for much other than high torque, short application. If you tried to use this like in a go-kart or something like that, it would burn up, because it's designed for high current, high torque for short duration. If you try to run it again, like I said, it would just overheat. There's no way to really dissipate the heat in the coils and stuff, and it would just burn itself up. So, but they're perfect for short bursts like that, like trying to turn an engine over. So, and then with this gets two like 1200 cranking amp, you know, batteries on it. So that's, you know, that's a lot of amperage turning this motor over. So, you know, it's got to be robust, and that's why they burn up sometimes when they start to develop problems, and which I just happened to catch mine before it completely burned up. So I'll clean it up, dress up the brushes down here, put it back together, and if it works great, I just won't worry about that one leg. And if it doesn't, well, like I said, I'll just go buy another. That's just a little side tidbit for you guys that don't know much about starters. So let me get back to cleaning the other one and get her done, and I'll show it to you. Okay, I'm back, and figured I'd show you the rest. That one's not looking so hot. There's some pits in that one. That one looks pretty good right there. That's kind of what it should look like. And this motor definitely, because it was loose in on the bell housing, definitely took some current through these brushes. That one's just hammered. I just don't think that one's going to work very long. That one's not looking so hot. That one's not very good. And the rest of them are, doggone it, sorry about for the focus. The rest of them are looking pretty good. I mean, there's a few here and there. But this should work. And it should work for several years, but you know, eventually I'll replace it. Just kind of a cheap guy sometimes, and if it's working, I'll just leave it. If not, then, you know, I'll wear it out and then I'll replace it. Well, let me get this all cleaned up, the rest of the motor cleaned up and put together, and then see if I can't get it to run. Alright, I'm back. I went ahead and I finished cleaning these up and getting metal shavings out, like that little piece there, but got it done. Also, I noticed that there was a lot of like little teeth right here, and they were going across. I don't really know if they're supposed to go across or not. So what I did, other than that one, I'll have to go back and fix it. But I made sure and cleaned out all the rest of them, as many of the little teeth and things I could get off of there, to make sure that there was a good air gap in there. I really don't know if it's supposed to be that way, but I know it's manufactured that way, so I'm keeping it. And what I mean is I don't know if it's supposed to actually have a split or if it matters. I don't know. Maybe some of you motor guys can tell me, but I don't know. So since I knew that it was primarily manufactured with a groove in here, I went ahead and tried to clean these out as much as I could, because some of them were really actually shorted side to side there. So I said, you know, I don't like that. I don't know if it's supposed to be that way, so I'm going to take care of it. And I just used a needle nose file, triangle I should say, from Harbor Freight. There's a plug for Harbor Freight for some files. And so I'll finish cleaning this up and get it back together. Alright, I was going to go ahead and come on, focus there, buddy. I was going to go ahead and show how I use this little triangle blade here. Just go back and forth like that and clean it up real good. Sorry about the jiggling. I'm holding it with one hand. So I just kind of do this. Make sure everything is separated. Like that. Whoops. Scratch it. That won't hurt it. And then I come back with a toothbrush and clean it out. Make sure everything's gone. Okay, I've got them all channeled out, I guess you could say. Just the metal part, not the glue or anything, because I'm pretty sure the glue is supposed to be there. Okay. There we go. And I'll just get it all cleaned up, and I'll probably run the Armature cloth across it one more time to buff it up a little bit. So, chit chat with you all later. I went ahead and cleaned all this up with some gasoline and a toothbrush, inside and out really good. And I noticed that I'm gonna pull these brushes out. This one moves pretty good, but a couple of them, they're really stiff. They just don't move, and I think that's probably what was causing some of the arcing, is it would get up in there and then the brush would wear down and then it would arc between the brush and the armature. So I'll get like that one sticking too. See, so I'll get in there and I'll clean them back up and get them reinstalled. Now the way you get these out is you have to pull this spring back right here, and you can use some needle nose. Here's some crescent needle noses, long. They're heavy duty enough. You can get in there and pull the spring back, and then you can pull the brush out. But the thing is that the brush, some of them, and I think it's the ones that are sticking, are actually kind of flared a little bit at the ends. So I'll have to get in there with a flat needle nose file and straighten them out. Take some off the sides, and then make sure that these are all burnished up good. I might even put just a very, very slight bevel on it, and then get them cleaned up on the inside. See how they're kind of chewed up? I'll get all that cleaned up so that it runs on the armature better, and you know, I might get a little bit more time out of it. Okay, what I did is I went ahead and got my flat file, and I filed the sides a little bit like this so that I can pull the brushes out, and then I kind of tapered them, went like this, just a little bit, not a lot. You don't want to do it too much, and now I'll be able to actually pull it out. So I'll show you how to grab a hold of it, and you'll have to stick your finger in here, grab your needle nose, pull the spring back, and then it should flip out. Okay, I got it out. What I did is I went ahead and used the needle nose and turned it sideways, and then when it got up high enough, I actually stuck a screwdriver in there and gently, and I mean gently, pried it out to where it would come out. So I haven't even looked at it yet, so you'll get the first view. So here we go, and you can see it's heavily pitted. So I'll be cleaning all this up, and then I'll get down in here and I'll clean all this out real good and make sure everything's cleaned up. and I'll do them one at a time so they don't get mixed up, and then put them back together. Thought I would give you guys a better view, close-up view. You can see it's really heavily pitted. Definitely going to be replacing this starter here pretty soon. When I reinstall it, I'll probably show you, or when I change it, I'll probably do it. I'll probably post a video of this anyways on the internet on my Keith Nunya channel, so you can all enjoy and learn something about it as I learned about it. So I'll chit chat with you guys later. Bye. Okay, using my flat file, I just dressed these up so that they would last a little longer until I get my new starter. But all the pitting is pretty much gone. I put a very, very slight bevel on the sides just to make sure it goes in fairly easily. And I'll clean all this up. And this stuff is very soft, by the way. This is like carbon and I think copper or something. Copper impregnated and stamped, and so it needs to be cleaned up really good. Looks like there's some kind of mark or something, or maybe just a mold thing. Oh, it's a Mitsubishi sign. I believe this starter was made by Mitsubishi. So anyways, so it's pretty straight now, and it's fairly parallel. You got to make sure you keep it parallel from here to here and here to here. You want these two surfaces parallel so it doesn't go in crooked and bind up, or you end up with one side contacting one side not. So you want to keep them fairly straight. So I need to get the other ones done. I need to get this one, this pocket cleaned out really good. I'll probably use a toothpick and some brake cleaner. Don't spray brake cleaner in here because you'll dissolve your insulating material. Gasoline starts to dissolve this too, so you're limited on how long you can have gasoline and things in here. So just take your time with it and try to keep the chemicals off it as much as possible, and you'll be able to clean it up and get it running again, at least until you can get a new one or a rebuilt one. Okay, to clean this out, you can use like a little piece of metal or something to hold that spring out of there. You could take it off, but it's hard to get them back on, so I typically don't. You know, this isn't my first starter I've played with, so anyways, you put that on there, and then you can get your cleaning stuff in there, an acid brush or something, and get it all cleaned up. And make sure that, you know, none of this is bent or anything, and it's parallel and straight. And then your brush should go ahead and go back in fairly easily. So let me get that done. Okay, I went ahead and used just a toothbrush with some brake cleaner on it, and I sprayed the brake cleaner on the toothbrush, not on here, or not on the starter, and then I just wiped it out. What I do like about brake cleaner is it dissolves fairly easily, and not dissolves, evaporates very. What I do like about it is it evaporates very easily. So anyway, so I'm gonna get this brush back in here, and you can just slide it back in, then you pull the plate out, and you should be good. Okay, putting it back in, it's still a little stiff, so I'm going to go ahead and trim it a little bit more. Probably on this side, I'll probably hit it with some 400 grit paper or something to try to get it to move. These right here, these are not the contacts for it, they're just guides. The actual contact is this cable right here. So let me get that done and I'll show it to you. Okay, after I filed the sides off, then I went ahead and put the screwdriver underneath the bottom down here, and then I just gently, and I mean gently, just pry up on it. Let's see if it'll focus. There we go. So anyways, let me get it out. I can't do it one-handed, and I don't want to damage it. Okay, I went ahead and actually used my microfile, and I just went around the whole side on this side, and now it moves fairly freely. So now I'm going to just bring this up towards the top here and pull the plate off, and hopefully that will solve my problem here. There we go. And let's see, let's push this back down in here. And now it moves nice and freely. So let me get the other ones done, And when I get done with those, I'll give you another tour. Okay, I got my third one here cleaned up. It's looking pretty good. It's all brushed up. It's a, for those of you who are curious and know, it's a Mitsubishi 28 brush. Come on, focus for me. There it is, Mitsubishi 28. So, got it all cleaned up. Had to level this out a little bit with my flat file and brush this side up a little bit, and this side just dress it up because it was kind of mushroomed a little bit out from the heat and it being worn. The pits are gone. They were just as bad as this one over here, if not worse. Let me see if I can't focus it a little bit better there. They were pretty bad. The armature diameter here, or whatever this is, was let's see, put my dial indicators on there. I'll go back and forth a little. Oops, sorry about that. Put my dial indicators on there. Looks like it was. Yep, 258. So there's going to be, even after dressing them up, there's going to be plenty of room, both sides, to make sure that there's enough bite on these. Even though they're a little short, they're about, I'd say, half gone in life, maybe 2/3 gone, because I think normally they stick out about here. But there's still enough, and they dressed up really nice. Let me get it back in, and I got one more to go. That's this one, and I'll get it cleaned up. I might just go ahead and take the other one off, and then leave this off a little bit, clean up in here a little bit, and then put it back together. So I'll chit chat with you guys in a little bit. Alright, I took it all apart just to show you guys what it looked like. This is just a plate to hold the spring back, as I've told you in the other parts of the video. Cleaned it all up. Got my last brush dressed. I'm not worried about that little pit. It's off to the side. Doesn't even make contact with the this part. And I cleaned all this up. Got these ones done too. Cleaned up the inside. Made sure everything was fine. Cleaned all this up. Little contacts. So the gasket that was here came off, so I'll just run a small bead of RTV around it when I put it back together. So let me get this back installed and get the rotor, armature, or whatever they call it, back in.